We're now in the 6th Perek of Shmuel Aleph. And now, remember, the Plishtim have had the Aron. They've had it. As a result, they got struck with some level of hemorrhoid. Plus, they also have either that hemorrhoids was created through the help of mice, or in addition, there was an additional plague of mice that hit them really hard, and they've gone from one city to the next city. And in totality, the Perek begins by telling us that the Aron was with the Plishtim for 7 months. Just as an aside, as we mentioned, that there's the possibility that Shaul was able to grab out of the Aron the luchos and hide those, in addition to being the one to tell Eli about the bad news. And meanwhile, the Holy Aron has been with the Plishtim for 7 months. Now, why is 7 months significant? So we're going to have to understand that if you go back during the time of Avram Avinu, he made a treaty with Avimelech, with the Plishtim, and that treaty involved 7 animals. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you made a treaty about the land, the holy land of Eretz Yisrael with the Plishtim. You think that that's okay? That isn't okay. And as a result, we have the loss of the Aron for 7 months. 7 connected 7. If you go on, Rabbi Rosner mentions that the Gemara talks about that it wasn't just the 7 months, but really 7 people were killed with the hands of the Plishtim. Who were they? So we had Chofni and Pinchas. We have Shaul. We have Shaul's 3 sons, and we have Eli. So as a result, 7 people died specifically by the hands of the Plishtim. There are also 7 makomos of kedusha, everything from the Ohel Moed through the 2 Batei Mikdash. There were 7 things that were also destroyed that were holy as a result of the 7. This number 7 is not just an insignificant number. Anyway, the Plishtim, they go to the Kohanim and the Kosmim. They don't go to their leaders. They go to people that are more spiritual in nature, because they realize this is not a political move. We don't need you politicians telling us what to do. We need something a little bit deeper. And they say, Ma na'aseh Aron Hashem? Like, what are we supposed to do with this Aron? We want to send it off. Nishlachenu l'mkomo. We want it to go back to its rightful owners, its rightful place. And these Kosmim, they don't say what to do. They just say, if you want to send it back, al tishlachu oso rekam. Do not send it back empty-handed. Why? Ki hashiv tashibu lo asham. You rather should send it with an asham. What is an asham? So asham connotes that there's a guilt part of this. You need to do some level of tshuva. And as tirsrefu, then you'll be healed. And all this plague, everything will be over, and it'll be absolutely, you'll be cleansed, and it will be away from you. So they say, okay, so what's this asham that we're supposed to, like, what should we do? So here it is, the Sarnei Plishtim, the leaders, they say, here's what you have to do. You have to have chamisha techorei zahav. You should have 5 of these golden some sort of hemorrhoid, and chamisha achbirei zahav, and 5 mice that are in gold. That should be 1 for each one of us. What one of each one of the major cities of the Plishtim, because that's what happened. It struck you and to all of your leaders. And you should make that, because these, this is what ravaged the land. This is what it was. So as a result, it makes sense that you should, that's going to be helpful to you, and then that will give honor. Natati le'elokei Yisrael kavod. That will give honor. Ulai yakel es yado ma'alechem, so that maybe he won't bother you anymore. Ma'al Elohechem, your God, and Artechem, your land. So they recognize that it is Hashem. these are goyim. These are not people that are raised to have that mentality, but yet they're able to do it. And v'lama tichbadu es levavchem kasher tichbadu Mitzrayim uparo es libam. Don't harden your hearts like the Egyptians did. Which, we're coming to a time of Pesach, how very timely to understand. What was it that we left Mitzrayim? We left a hardening of our heart. We left a time where we're emotionally blocked, that we can't find HaKadosh Baruch Hu and see what's really all the good feelings. That it's not just by Vayachbed Hashem es leave Paro. It wasn't that Hashem just took Paro's rational thought. It doesn't say Vayachbed Hashem as Moach Paro, that Hashem took away the headset of and the cognitive and the rational thinking of Paro. It says leave Paro, his heart, because ultimately it's a message for us. Like we're learning through what's happening with the Plishtim, it's our message. It's what we have to take, what we have to inculcate among ourselves to have an emotional connection to each other and to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to be on that frequency. That's what the people are warned. The people of the Plishtim. Don't repeat history, what happened with the Mitzrim. And so here's what you're going to do. Chuba asu agala chadasha. Take a brand new cart. And shtei paras alos asher lo Allah alehem ol. And 2 cows that have never done any work. And you're going to harness them to this cart. And you're going to put in the back of them their children. So, and then you're going to you're going to put onto this cart you're going to take the aron, you're going to put it on the cart. Next to the cart, you're going to attach a chest with all the golden stuff, and you're going to send it off on its way. Now, why is this going to be an interesting test? So the test is like this. These cows, if you've never, I don't farm, but if I were to farm, the first time that you put any sort of yoke on the cow doesn't know what to do if it's never done it before. It'll fight you on it. But if the cow does not fight you on it at all, and a cow by nature wants to stay with its children, so if it does not bother the cow to leave its children and to walk completely to where Derech Bulo Yala Beit Shemesh, to Beit Shemesh, to the Jewish town of Beit Shemesh, and it goes straight yashar, right? Then you're going to know that it was all Hashem. So then, you don't know if it really was Hashem. You don't really know what's going on. You don't know what you should be doing. So here's going to be the great test for you. But if it goes towards its nature, what it's naturally accustomed to do, it won't move. It'll go to its children. It's not going to go yashar all the way to Beit Shemesh. And that is exactly what these people do. That's the Plishtim listen. They take the 2 cows, they tie it to a brand new wagon. They put the aron in the wagon. They put all the stuff, the golden stuff, to the side, and they send it. And vayisharna haparos b'derech el derech Beit Shemesh. They go straight, yashar. What is interesting of the word vayisharna? So it's not just yashar that they went straight, but perhaps the Midrash says that they were also they were singing shira. They were singing praise, they were singing songs while they were going. And that's not something that we're not accustomed to hear. We have in Perek Shira that animals, they sing, all of HaKadosh Baruch Hu we had when it came to the sun with Yehoshua. Hashem's creatures, everything that Hashem created, all sing the Shira to Hashem all day long. They're singing and they're happy to be doing the Ratzon of Hashem. So here these paros are very happy to be doing the Ratzon of Hashem. Interestingly, we might ask, okay, so this is a special, these are really special cows. Why aren't these cows mentioned the same way that Bilam's donkey was mentioned? So perhaps the answer is that after what happened with Bilam's donkey, good things happen. The Bnei Yisrael get bracha, matov olacha Yaakov. Unfortunately, what's going to happen after as a result of these cows is not going to be good. and we'll see why. And so there's a little, there's very little that is being highlighted and illuminated in a positive way, and we'll see why in just one moment. So they go to Beit Shemesh, and it is a time that the Jews are kotzer klitim be'emek. They're gathering wheat, and they see that the Aron vayismachu laros, and they're just so happy. So what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture is they have gone on their merry way. They are harvesting. They have moved on. They are doing what perhaps, in many conversations that we have, just even with regard to the war, both it was the post-October 7th, or even now what's happening in Iran, don't we think it's a little bit, I don't know, it seems to be missing the mark that we've moved on. Many people have remarked, we're so used to being in the bomb shelters that it's just become, a regular routine. But a regular routine when Am Yisrael is in Be'is Sarah, or some of us are just, more of seemingly in a more precarious position than others, you have to do more. We have to think about it more. We have to daven more. We have to do more tzedakah, teshuvah, and just, and to feel for our brothers and sisters that are in Eretz Yisrael in harm's way. Here, the Aron was taken. They just moved on. Like, they're happy to see it. Do we hear about a reconnaissance? Did they try to get the Aron? Did they try to do anything to be able to bring the Aron back? Maybe in the beginning, after 7 months, we're not hearing, there's no Perek. Shmuel's not talking about anyone that did anything to be able to be helpful, nor we don't hear about them crying and mourning and not being able to carry on. No one's doing any shopping. They're going on they're going on a strike. No one's making big weddings, fancy bar mitzvahs, going on vacations. Yeah, the Aron is gone. We should be in tears. But no one's doing that. And we'll see exactly what that means, and if Hashem allows and feels good about what that really means. But the Agala comes to the Sadeh of Yehoshua ben Beis Hashimshi. So this guy Yehoshua, who's from Beit Shemesh, and it's just there. It's on this big stone, and they take all of the wood from this wagon, and the animals. And they give it to Hashem. They say that they took apart the wood and they gave it to Hashem. How can they? Well, because now that the Mishkan is, there's a problem with it in Shiloh. It's no longer in Shiloh. It's been, the Aron's been taken. So now they can once again serve. They can give sacrifices wherever they want, and that's halacha. That's okay. And the Leviim, they take the Aron. Now, when they take the Aron and they take the box that it was in, and all the clay and all this gold stuff, and they put it on one eben, and they give it all Bayom Hahula Hashem. So and that is, and the Sarnei Plishtim, they see, oh my goodness, it was returned. That is amazing, and that the payment was a payment for Ashdod, for Aza, Gat, Ekron, Ashkelon, all of the 5. Remember, there were 5 cities of the Sarnei, of the Plishtim, and that all the golden mice were, also for all of the people and the villages, and basically, that was in exchange. And they saw that it also, everything went, that the Aron landed in the Sadeh of Yehoshua Beit Shimshi, and then they left. Now, once they're out of sight, what happens is there is a huge magefa, and there are 50,000 people that are killed, and 70 of the Zakenim. Some say that it was 70 Zakenim who were so holy that they were like 50,000, because the lashon of the pasuk, the words in the pasuk, Vayach ba'am shivim ish, chamishim elaf ish. So it's 70 people and then 50,000 people. So how do we get that? So maybe that the 70 are equal to the 50,000 people. Maybe it's that the 70,000 Zakenim and 50,000 of the regular people. And what had they done wrong? That they were able to receive a Makkah Gdola, this big plague. So if you go back to the beginning of the pasuk, it's a little bit interesting in its language. It says Ki ra'u ba'aron Hashem, because they saw the aron of Hashem. So either, in a general sense, is what I've mentioned. They knew that the aron is gone. Did they look for it? Did they try to find it? Did they do reconnaissance? Did they do anything? No. Or they wanted the Aron, but they wanted what was inside of the Aron. They thought it was going to give them superpowers, magical protection. They didn't love Hashem for the sake of Hashem, but they loved it for the sake of what it could do for them. They saw what was the potential inside of the Aron, right? Or the people who saw the Aron were immediately killed, because some say that they opened up that the wind blew and the curtains of the Aron blew open and they looked. And some say that they actually opened up inside to check out to make sure that everything was okay, quote unquote. But really, they were so curious to see what was in the Aron. What would they have been able to find? Well, we mentioned one of the things was the luchos. So, and we know that in the time of Yoshiyahu buried, we believe that he buried a lot of the special kelim of the Beis HaMikdash and the Aron, so that it wouldn't go into enemy hands. What was inside the Aron were the luchos. There was a little jug of mun. There was the staff of Moshe. And the question, and there was the box of the Sarnei Plishtim, of what the Plishtim put in with the golden mice. What in the world? Why would they have the box with the mice? So the answer is because what were these mice? These mice were the Kiddush Hashem. They're a major Kiddush Hashem, just like the man, just like the staff. These weren't holy things. They weren't holy like the luchos, but they were special because through them, major Kiddush Hashem happened. Through them, the Plishtim were able to acknowledge, oh my goodness, yes, this ultimately, we weren't sure. We weren't, we needed to hedge our bets. We weren't sure if this has all come from Hashem or if this was just happenstance. So we did the test, we found out, and all the Plishtim, that's a gadrillion goyim, are all thinking, wow, Hashem, you really are very, very, important, and we shouldn't mess with you, just like, what happened with Mitzrayim. So for that reason, it was very important what they found in the, this weird box was included in the Aron. Others say that the box was just for a while, but it wasn't forever, and we don't really need to include the box. But irrespective, the Bnei Israel had done really wrong. They didn't show kavod to the Aron. They didn't show to try to get back the Aron. They didn't make it seem like it was important. When it was important, when they asked Hashem, oh, what should we do? What should we do when it comes to wars? But what about what should we do? What should we do? Our Aron has been taken. We need to go get it back. Where's the Perek on that? So there wasn't. And as a result, they had a huge Makkah Gedola. Now, it was important that it happened after there's no Plishtim around, because Hashem didn't want the Plishtim to be like, oh, see, we're not good, but you guys are not good either. Hashem is mad at you also. So that, in order for that to be the case, he no longer, he waits until they're absolutely gone. And then the people say, oh my gosh, like what they recognize that it is Hashem. They recognize that it is Hashem who did this to them. And they understand that this is something bad. And that's what Jewish people do. Jewish people know that when they do something wrong, that they have to do something about it. The final words of the Perek are then the people from Beit Shemesh. They send messengers to the people of Kiryas Yearim, and they say, we got the Aron back. Come and you take it. Clearly, it is not something that is, it is very holy, and we will see going forward what then happens. But but they highlight that this is all from Hashem, which is important, which is the most important thing, that whenever something good or something bad happens, we highlight that it's obviously from Hashem. That is a major message of the Perek. But they also recognize that it doesn't belong with them, and they're going to pass it off, and we will see what then happens in the next Perek.